All right, everyone, if I could get your attention, please. It's time to call our April City Council meeting to order. Sorry again that we're running a little bit behind. I think we've got all of the technology challenges resolved. Welcome again. First, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And then please stay standing. Mr. Perkle is going to lead us in our invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray with me? Lord, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight, for the blessings you've given us, for the responsibility you've placed on us. Help us to live up to that. Thank you for our workers that are here. Without them, nothing would get done. We thank you for the citizens that are here and those that could not be. Thank you for their support and for them holding us accountable for doing the job that we're here to do. We thank you most of all for your Son and sending him to us this Easter time of year. We ask that you bless us through this season. Help us to make good decisions tonight. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Perkle. First order of business is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Have a motion from Mr. Hicks. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Avery. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, next we'll move on to the approval of the minutes, and that would be for the council meeting and executive session on March the 10th, and the work session and executive session on March 3rd. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Mayor, motion to approve the minutes.
Have a motion from Mr. Anderson. Is there a second to approve? Second from Mr. Hicks. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, great. Next, we'll move on to awards, presentations, and proclamations, and we have a couple today. And we have some very distinguished guests here tonight from our Public Works Department. This is Public Works Week, which will be coming up in May. Actually, and just wanted to take an opportunity to recognize some very outstanding employees, but I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation. Whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Sugar Hill. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public work professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the city of Sugar Hill to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and the Canadian Public Works Association. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the mayor and council of the city of Sugar Hill do hereby designate the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025, as National Public Works Week. They further urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. So proclaim this 14th day of April 2025. So we have folks here from our gas utility department, our street department, and our stormwater department. And of course, we could not forget Joe Appling, who supervises all three of those departments and has been with us for many, many years. And to have them actually come out, take time to come and be at one of our city council meetings after they work so hard each and every day we're really thankful that y'all are here. I know that some of others up here might want to just say some thanks to you all, so I'm just going to kind of open it up. I know Gary prayed and said some good words in his prayers, but Gary.
Yeah, I'll just say, again, nothing that we do up here would have any impact if it weren't for the people that actually carry out things and execute it. Joe's been here longer than I have, even before I moved here. He's been working with the city and many, many others that have been around for a long time. I appreciate all the work they do. I just happened to be out in my yard today and saw 2 Gwinnett County water meter readers walking the street. Not happy for the bill I'm going to get, but I appreciate the work they do and keeping my water running. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Perkle. Anybody else like to say some words before we get them to come up and take a picture with us? Yes, Miss Avery.
I just wanted to say thank you. I know that this crew, those staff members, work really hard, and especially outside, in the heat, in the cold, sometimes really early in the morning, depending on the weather, sometimes late into the night. And our city is very grateful and very blessed to have such a hardworking staff, and I know how much I appreciate them. And what we do up here reflects on the work that you carry out as well, and we're really grateful to have such a great crew that works so hard. So I just want to say thank you so much for all your time, your effort, and your teamwork. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Avery. Mr. Anderson.
The start of this year was a pretty challenging one, from tropical storms to ice storms and kind of everything in between, and traveling out and about after those storms and seeing our crews out there working so hard to clear trees, get the ice and salt down. It was really impressive. It never fails to disappoint. You guys have done a fantastic job. We are so thankful and blessed to have you as part of our city, and appreciate all the hard work you do. We know that you put in long hours. You get to deal with all the snakes in the debris on the street and everything else that comes with that, and we know it's a big job, and we appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Anybody else? All right, we'd love for y'all to come up and get a picture with us in the proclamation, and I'm gonna make an executive decision here, but I think we need to do like a cookout for Public Works during that week. Wouldn't that be something pretty awesome to be able to spend some time with them, and maybe barbecue? I don't know. It's just off the top of my head. They're smiling, so I think they probably would love that. But y'all come on up here to the front, and we'll meet you in the middle, okay? All right, next we'll move on to the next proclamation, and that is the annual one that we do for Arbor Day. And I'll go ahead and read it. We do not have a formal presentation for this, but I'll read the language. I think this is the language that we use every year. But Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees, and this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, the mayor and council of the city of Sugar Hill do hereby proclaim Friday, April 26th, Arbor Day in the city of Sugar Hill, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Further, we urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. So proclaim this 14th day of April 2025. And I thank the Planning and Zoning Department for doing this for us each and every year. Great beginnings every day on Arbor Day. The kids go out to through our champion tree out at what will be Champion Tree Park, and I know that they'll do that again this year. All right, that's it from a proclamation standpoint. We will now move on to our reports, and I'll start with the city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report.
Thank you, Mr. Hartley. Next, we'll move on to city council, and I'll start with Mr. Page.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, I want to thank the residents of Sugar Hill for continuing to stay engaged in voicing their ideas and help shape the future of our city for these past couple meetings and speaking up. One initiative I'm particularly proud of and I want to highlight tonight is the Theo Hutchins Task Force, which of course I'm honored to be a part of. This group is dedicated to building a more inclusive and accessible Sugar Hill for individuals with different abilities, whether that means improving the accessibility, advocating for inclusive programming, or simply just raising awareness. We're working hard to ensure everyone feels welcome and of course valued in our community. If it's something you're passionate about, feel free, reach out to me. Would love your involvement. I'm happy to get you in touch with Chelsea and Sam, and we'd love you to have your support out there. Also want to acknowledge, I've had a few residents contact me over the weekend and over the past week in relationships, having questions and concerns regarding the Marshal Service and the potential expansion of its responsibilities. I appreciate those who have reached out, shared your thoughts, both positive and both, I wouldn't say negative, but just having concerns, and really appreciate that. And we just ask you to continue to voice your concerns, continue to voice your opinions. We need that, and let those be known. Don't harbor them, and don't keep them to yourself. Want to be open, want to be transparent, and want to have that open communication as that continues to evolve. All feedback really helps shape the direction of where we go. So thank you for the opportunity to continue to serve, and Mayor, that concludes my April report.
Thank you, Mr. Page. Ms. Avery, you're next.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to start off by saying I attended a zoning reform and revision class in March, sponsored by the Carl Vinson Institute at the UGA campus in Lawrenceville. This course explained how zoning codes can meet a local community's future needs and desires to reach more positive social and economic outcomes and responsive land use policies. The topics that they covered during the day-long class were zoning significance in shaping communities and reasons for amending a local zoning code, expectations of a contemporary zoning code, methods for assessing existing code and development patterns, and best practices in zoning reform. This class was very informative and beneficial, well presented, but not just because of the information and data presented, but also hearing how leaders from our neighboring counties are handling current and future zoning needs. There were several counties present at this meeting, so it was really good to, when we had group discussions about certain questions about zoning, to hear what other counties are doing and how they're looking toward the future. One of my favorite quotes was, "Everything has a place, and there is a place for everything." but not everything has to be in that place. And I really liked that quote. And also, that zoning reform isn't just about building more housing. It's about building more equitable and resilient communities that provide opportunities for everyone. It's always important for us to remember that our zoning codes are the most powerful tool that determine what American communities look like. They can promote diversity, mixed income neighborhoods, and a sense of place. I thought this class was very beneficial when thinking about zoning, and as we mentioned, Arbor Day coming up and the importance of keeping trees in our neighborhoods. It's always a tough job to have a balance, and finding that balance and the right areas is a very prominent part of what we do up here, so attending the class was just great. They have another one in September. I would love to, and I would encourage any member of the planning department to attend the next class in September. Then in April, I attended the grand opening of the Sugar Hill Self-Storage business. This is a very unique business because it is not a typical standard storage unit facility, which is what I went there expecting, and was extremely pleased. They also have a conference room available for rent, as well as business suites for weekly and/or monthly rent. They are very excited to be a part of our community by also offering fundraising events for local groups. They are located on Buford Highway, near the Woodward Mill intersection, and I know they will certainly be an asset to our city. So I would highly encourage, if anybody needs one of their units or their services, they would be a great person, a great facility to call. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Ms. Avery. Mr. Anderson.
Just a couple of comments, Mayor. The Riverlands Authority did not meet this month, so we'll be looking at May for our next meeting. I hope that folks come out to see that. Attended the ribbon cutting for Sugar Hill Self-Storage with Councilmember Avery, and of course the mayor was there as well, and I echo her comments. I thought they've done a really nice job. It is definitely not your typical storage facility, and I thought they did a very nice job. And also, congratulations to Starbucks on their opening in downtown. I've been through the store a few times during the day, and it is packed all the time with younger folks, a lot of teenagers and 20-somethings in there enjoying Starbucks, getting work done, studying, and it's been a nice to see that asset is now part of our community. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Hicks, you're up next.
Thanks, Mayor. One thing, if those that may have the opportunity during March Madness, during the Final Four, may have had the opportunity to hear Sugar Hill mentioned several times for a young local athlete that was playing for Duke University, Sion James, a product of Sugar Hill, all the way through elementary, middle school, and high school at Lanier Middle. So super happy for him and his success and what he has done. And just hearing Sugar Hill mentioned so many times was pretty applauding. Want to, again, I know the Public Works team isn't here, but definitely as the weather is here now and those residents are out taking care of their yards, definitely want to applaud Joe and his team for the countless work that they're doing, going by picking up the yard clippings and all of the debris from our yard work. So super appreciative for them and his team. I want to, I was actually going to send an email, but I am in the East Center a lot. And just the staff that is there, from Darcy and her team, but also from the entire staff there is always, I'm just kind of watching them from afar. They do such an amazing job. So super happy for just, I can name them all by name because they're very personable. So super happy and grateful for what they're doing within the city. The events team. Super happy for what you guys, Avery, you and your team is doing as well. We recently, with spring break this past week, and through the work that Paul has allowed with the district attorney's team to partner with the district attorney's team to, this is the second year in a row that we've had the District Attorney Youth Summit here at the E-Center. They use the classrooms. There, this year was a little over 50, I think it was 52 kids that were there. It was a collective effort between the events team, the East Center staff, and these were kids. I had the opportunity last year. It was, of course, it's during spring break, so I was out of town. But this year we were local, and I had the opportunity to stop in. And it was amazing to see these kids. They were from different parts of Gwinnett County, from Central Gwinnett area, from South Gwinnett area, from Snellville. And a lot of them had never actually even been in Sugar Hill. And they had a parents' meeting that was hosted in the Eagle Theater, and so many of the parents were amazed when they came here and say that they even, never knew that this existed and this was a place that they wanted to come back to. So it was very rewarding to hear that, to see the kids out here running around and joking and having fun, but, what Honorable Patsy Gatson and her team did to bring in financial resources, educating them on that, and as well as different activities for the youth. It was pretty rewarding to see. So we will make sure I'll post some pictures of that from that event. So super grateful for Avery, you and your team for helping, also for Darcy and team for helping with that as well. Also, the marshals, again, super grateful and appreciative for the work that Chief King, your team is doing daily. I was actually going to visit a friend probably a week or so ago in a neighborhood, and as I was driving out, I was passing a marshal, which I just kind of stopped. He didn't know who I was or whatever, and he was like, man, I was over at Gary Perkle Park. It's busy over there, but, just wanted to kind of come through while I had a downtime and just ride through the neighborhoods and just doing, some patrolling in the neighborhood. So I thanked him for that, but again, that is something that they're doing and is not going unnoticed. From our neighborhoods, from our residents. I'm receiving emails constantly about the great work that your team is doing, so super grateful and thankful for the work that they're doing in their presence. And spring break was this week, so again, you guys have become very busy, or this past week, so you guys were very busy with making sure that this downtown area was maintained and not allowing kids to run freely without supervision. So super grateful for that, and thank you for your teams doing such an amazing job. So, and congratulations to Starbucks on the opening. It's really nice. Driving down 20, and as I go down there, I see young kids sitting there in that window right there on their laptops or meeting, and again, that's what this is all about, right? A community where we can see kids and adults gathering in those places. So that concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Mr. Perkle.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few comments tonight. First, I'd like to recognize two of our residents, Ryan and Kyle Sieg. They are race car drivers for Ryan Sieg Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. They're based out of Sugar Hill. You can see them every Saturday on TV. They're doing a great job. Really fun team to watch. They have 4 cars. I think the two of them drive the 28 and the 39, but they have 4 teams they run, doing well. And then also would like to make everyone aware that there's a house that the city has come to own that we are trying to not own anymore. It is in, I believe it's the Mill Creek Trace subdivision, which is kind of a smaller subdivision inside Frontier Forest. And that house is being put up for auction. So if anybody has interest in that house, we'd be happy to sell it to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perkle. And I'll go next very quickly. Just want to remind everybody we're almost at the end of the school year, and so we've got baseball and soccer winding down. The last night for soccer, for Lanier High School soccer, is tomorrow night. It's community night. They'd love for anybody to come out to the ranch between, I think the girls' game is at 5:30, boys' game is at 7:30. Soccer has really taken off in our community and at the high school, and they just want to get more beyond just parents and students involved at it. And so I'll be out on the field at each halftime recognizing the sponsors that have contributed towards the Booster Club this year. And then Thursday night, Lanier High School, the Longhorns have not had a great season, but it's been great baseball. And their last home game is Thursday night, starts at 6:30, and it's also senior night, so they'll be recognizing all the seniors that are moving on. And just encourage everybody to just come out and watch some good high school baseball, local baseball. And that is it for me. So next I'll move on to Ms. Whittington, our city clerk, for her report.
Thank you, Mayor. The city customer service office issued 19 new business licenses in the month of March. And interesting on this month that 14 of them were commercial locations. The business renewals are ongoing. 165 came in March. It should be completed this month and the next week or so with all the renewals being in. We also did 214 passports in March, which is a pretty good number for a small office there. And if you need a passport appointment or business license, visit our website for the paperwork or to make a passport appointment. And for the training in that department, Candy Peterman completed her annual passport training. They are each required to complete the training every year, and each one of the customer service representatives are certified passport agents. We usually have one or two doing them on a daily basis, but they are all certified and keep their training up. So there's some more training that they're completing this month that we will give you in the future updates. And that's all I have, Mayor. Oh, one other thing. City Hall and the city business offices are closed Friday for Good Friday.
Thank you for that reminder, Ms. Whittington. Mr. Radford, the city manager's report is up next.
Thank you, Mayor. I have accepted an annexation of 13.92 acre assemblage owned by the estate of Bonnie Sedereth. It was initiated by an application in care of local land company dated March 12th. As of March 17th, I've determined that the application is complete, meets state and Georgia requirements under the 100% method, and does not create an unincorporated island. Pursuant to state law, notice has been prepared and was delivered on 3/24 to Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners and the Gwinnett County Board of Education. Gwinnett County did not object to the annexation. The properties are currently zoned single-family residential R100 in the county. The requested zoning classification is medium-density single-family residential RS72 for a 40-lot subdivision. The public hearing is scheduled for April 21st at the Planning Commission meeting, and a second public hearing will occur on May 12th at your May council meeting. Public notice signs were posted on 3/21/25, and legal advertisements were and are being published in the Gwinnett Daily Post. Just wanted you to know I've accepted that. It meets some state law requirements, and then it'll get to you in May. The other thing that in our monthly review, appreciate the comments about all of our staff who work extraordinarily hard, and also appreciate the recognition of things going on in downtown and around the city in our parks. Just a remarkable number of people that use the e-center. We now have over 23,000 members. And as you notice, if you go by there, it's busy all the time. And that's always heartwarming, I think, for any person that sits in my seat, to see the facilities you've built are being used by the community. Our golf course continues to thrive. One good thing about, if there was anything good about COVID, is that it did help restore golf interest in doing things outside. Our golf course, surprisingly, is well known around Metro Atlanta. I have a lot of colleagues around Metro Atlanta who tell me all the time that they love our golf course. It's reasonably priced, The golf course is well-maintained, and it's a challenge. You'll hear soon that we have announced that fishing at Ridge Lake Park is scheduled to open for the season on May 1st. It's a catch and release only. Signage will be posted around the pond to remind anglers of the requirement. And what the catch and release, what it does, it helps support the health of the population and ensures a sustainable environment for continued recreational fishing. It'll be open from 7 a.m. until dusk, and so I know a lot of people in the community are excited about this and be able to go out there and fish. Avery's here tonight. I'm going to give her a break, not having to come up here and report on things, but you've seen in all of our social media that we've announced both the Live on Stage concert series for the Eagle as well as the Bull. The Eagle shows Hank Azaria and the Easy Street Band. And we have Sister Hazel that will be in the theater as well. Sister Hazel performed in the Bowl about 8 years ago. We have country singer Chase Beckham, the 30th anniversary of Everclear, as well as John Barry's annual Christmas and Hits on the day after Thanksgiving. In the Bowl, we've announced Tyler Hubbard of the Florida Georgia Line fame, and Sawyer Brown, another country act, and then we're fortunate with the routing to be able to sign Colby Calais and Gavin DeGraw. Both have multiple platinum albums, and they're performing together on our stage. We have 2 more that we'll be announcing soon, and then that will conclude our lineup for the summer and the fall. A number that just I looked at when I started reading this afternoon after Victoria prepared this report was that we had 68,000 visitors in downtown in March. So our downtown is very, very busy. I appreciate the talk about the 2 new businesses. We also have one that will backfill the River Mills space called the Ramen Studio. It's a fast casual restaurant specialized in ramen. Is it ramen or ramen? Ramen. You can tell I didn't do that in college. And I have my meals provided for me. So, and poke bowls and a variety of Asian cuisine. And we're excited about them coming to downtown Sugar Hill. With that, Troy, I'll turn it over to you to give us our construction update, and then I'll conclude with Chief King, and when Chief King finishes, that will conclude my report.
Thank you, Mr. Radford. I refer you to the public project construction update, which is on the city's website, and a link will be provided here momentarily as soon as I can get the link pulled up. I'll also include this at the end of my presentation tonight. That is for the month of March. We do include a number of projects that are not in this particular report that's handed out tonight or in my comments, so I encourage you to look at that. There are a number of other things that we're still making our way through the pre-construction phases, and it's not very exciting in a presentation format, but you might want to follow where we're at with those. The first one I want to talk a little bit about is one that we fund through the capital improvement budget from SPLOST and a grant program from the state of Georgia, and that's our road resurfacing and repairs project. We have proposed the repairs to these 15 streets and various neighborhoods throughout the city. We awarded a contract recently, and notice to proceed will be issued April 21st, so you'll see some activity in those neighborhoods beginning in late April and early May with the conclusion some 90 days thereafter. The locations in the city are outlined on the screen, but you'll find more information again on the report if you want to find out a little bit more about it. We will be posting notice on each of the neighborhood entrances to announce to the residents in anticipation and in advance of the construction activity starting. There will be edge milling, and there will be some prep work before the actual paving, so it'll be indicative of when the contractor is preparing to mobilize in those areas. We did receive notice that the additional funding from the state of Georgia was available, and we've got a presentation that we plan to present in May for your consideration for additional repairs and pavement management contracts. So look for that in the May agenda. Another project I just wanted to mention very briefly, we completed the first round of improvements at Ridge Lake Park. Paul mentioned the stocking of the pond. We've done some other interim level work out there with our staff, constructing some trails and the installation of a disc golf course, a 9-hole disc golf course. And this is the post-construction view of the restroom building and pavilion, picnic pavilion. We had acquired the property in 2016, completed a pretty significant amount of public involvement in 2017. And then this plan was the outcome of that public involvement, and you'll see that we've been able to complete a good many of the recommended improvements at the park. It's meant to be a more passive park, so we didn't throw everything at the property, and we also didn't build out all of the parking. So we are looking at potentially adding some parking in this in future phases. And then I want to talk a little bit about some other ones we've suggested in this year's budget for Phase 2. So we are proposing some additional parking in, if the funding holds out this year or in 2026. Playground was a big part of the proposal initially, so we are talking about doing that. We're going to improve the trail system, so footbridges are ones that our staff had actually constructed from the Parks and Rec Department on the property, if you've been out there. Of course, we have an incredible public works staff that loves to build pavilions, so this is probably one of those cases where we can include a pavilion in this particular phase. And this is one that is really closer to the pond and helps serve to provide support to the fishing use at the park, along with potential dock and fishing pier in the area. Terrace seating was something we've talked about doing, and it's something that we'll again see if the funding holds out in 26. Some easy low-hanging fruit or pollinator gardens and these very small recreation programs like bocce ball courts or permanent cornhole boards and those kind of things. So our previous phase was pretty robust in terms of infrastructure development, like the parking driveway and rehabilitating the dam for that pond, which was built largely out of leather scraps, unfortunately. So that's what we're looking at for some of the future phases, and we'll clean this up and tell you a little bit more about it. The most immediate action item would be the playground approval, so we'll be pulling together some documents on that and getting pricing pulled together for that. We also have some pretty easy implementation like site lighting at the entrance, and that's underway, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. So playground equipment, not like this, don't get locked down on what's here, but it is meant to be more outdoor themed playground equipment. And with that, I'll conclude my construction update. Turn it back over to Chief King.
Mayor, City Council, good evening. For the month of March, the marshals logged a total of over 1,700 activities, which included all of our residential and business area checks of the city parks and assets, as well as our community events and our community policing events. Marshals did participate in lockdown drills at North Gwinnett Middle School, Lanier Middle School, Sycamore Elementary School, White Oak Elementary, and of course then we also had our youth empowerment program going on each month. Our reserve marshals, who volunteer their time, logged 137 hours of patrol for the downtown area last month. And we had several training events that our marshals went to. One of the ones I wanted to talk just briefly about was the Georgia Association of Women in Public Safety. I attended that in Athens. And in 22 years of law enforcement, I have never been in a room with almost 300 women of all walks of life in public safety. It was absolutely amazing, and the training they provided was second to none. So it was a great experience. I was glad I was able to go. We also underwent an audit with the GBI for our GCIC usage, GCIC CJIS usage, which is normal. They do it every 3 to 4 years. This was just our first one. And I'd like to say we came out of that and we fared really well on the audit. So no issues, and we'll see them again in 3 to 4 more years.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Radford. I don't see anybody from the Youth Council here, so that's right, it is spring break. You're absolutely right. So we'll move on to citizens and guest comments, and this is an opportunity for anyone that has anything that they would like to express about Sugar Hill. Each person has up to 3 minutes, and you know the drill, sir.
Evening.
Good evening.
Andrew Schultz. You need the address and all that again?
You always need, that's required in our ordinances, unfortunately.
Okay, 5350 Windswept Trace, Sugar Hill, Georgia.
Thank you.
Just wanted to commend Public Works for cleaning up that tree that blew over on the Gold Mine Trail. They did that pretty quick, and it was like the day after they were out there fixing that. Also, I don't know if it was stormwater or whatever, but they did cut the bamboo down at the church, which is awesome. They had to clear the path back through the storm drains and all. And I got a little pleasant surprise last week. I always peek down there because the deer seem to like it down in there. And there was a yearling. And guess what the yearling was doing? Playing in a puddle. I laughed my butt off. He's sitting there jumping up and down, and Mom stuck her head around the corner and kind of stared me down. So that was quite a nice thing. Wildlife is something me and my wife both enjoy on that trail, and I'm appreciative that we have at least a sanctuary for some of the trees with, you know, that whole thing going on at the end of May, is it, for Arbor Day? But there's also a huge barn owl on that path. And if you're lucky enough to see them, you've never seen a wingspan that big on a bird. That thing is huge. Also wanted to say, we were talking about businesses opening up. We're getting an Ollie's up in the old Quality Foods Plaza. And I stuck my head in there. The electricians were finishing up the wiring and said that they were starting to move stuff in today. So I thought that was cool. Good stuff, cheap. I don't know if you've ever been to Ollie's, but they have a lot of stuff. And Gary, I appreciate you bringing up the Seed family. They started out rough this year. They brought back a couple tore up race cars from Daytona, and it's nice to watch them on the CW on Saturdays and see how good they're doing now. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Anybody else? Mr. January.
Good evening, James January, 1282 Frontier Drive. I would like to add my thanks and appreciation to our Public Works Department from a citizen's perspective. I've lived in Sugar Hill for a little over 34 years. And the entire time I've lived here, of course, we've had gas appliances. A couple things about that. I think we've had probably some of the best gas rates of anywhere around, Georgia, Gwinnett County certainly. And it's also been very reliable. I can't remember a time in the middle of the winter when it was really cold that there was ever an issue, with my furnace not being able to come on because of gas. The other thing, of course, I greatly appreciate living in Frontier Forest with all our trees is the street department and our yard waste pickup service every week. I do my best to keep the chipper fed, and same with the bag truck whenever they come by. So I greatly appreciate that. I think that's been going on for most, if not all, the 34 years we've been here. And finally, the other thing, too, I'll mention is stormwater runoff. We've seen some real improvement in stormwater runoff, stormwater control in Frontier Forest over the years that we've lived there. And we used to have some issues with yard flooding and things like that. But certainly, whatever you guys are doing, the stormwater department, they are doing a heck of a job controlling that and making sure it goes where it needs to. So thanks again to all of our Public Works folks. The other thing I just have I guess I'll say a question, or I'm curious, is in this contract for transporting arrestees. I'm curious why they, the first line of the agreement changes the term for the City of Sugar Hills Marshal's Office from Marshal's Office to police. And I don't know, maybe when you come to the discussion about that, maybe somebody could enlighten me or enlighten the folks on why that's, police is being used instead of Marshal's Office. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. January. Anybody else? Yes. Yes. Troy, Mr. Basesh, would you just make note of the cleanup week that we do every year?
We'll send information out about it, but it is the first full week of May, which is the 5th through the 9th.
Okay.
On your regular trash pickup day is the day we will come through your neighborhood and pick up, or Waste Management will come
Okay.
through your neighborhood and pick up bulk waste.
And I know there's some limitations. I'm not going to ask you to give them because I think you'll post it on the website and on the social media
That's correct.
outlets for the city. But just if you're interested in that, pay close attention to the requirements for it. All right, thank you. Sorry, I didn't close out citizens and guest comments. Is there anybody else? All right, we're going to close that out and we will move on. We have no consent agenda. We do have old business. Mr. Basesh, would you present item number 1?
I will. The first item is a carryover from a previous item where we were looking at replacing HVAC equipment at the E-Center. There was a question about the number of proposals we had received for that item, and one of the requests out of that meeting was for us to look for other vendors who were approved for servicing the natural gas pumps at the E-Center. We did install those in 2018 at an expense of $201,000. We have seen a significant savings over their 7.5-year life at the E-Center. You see some of the units have over 50,000 hours, and the others are fast approaching their useful life. So we were looking at a replacement of all 6 of those units en masse in anticipation of needing to replace them. It is a significant amount of effort, as you might guess, to get a crane and replace them. So that's the nature of the replacing them at one time. So after the initial presentation of this item, we did go back to J.C. Lane, to Middle Georgia Mechanical out of Dublin, and Weaver Heating and Air. All 3 are approved vendors for the Yanmar natural gas heat pump items at the E-Center. We did not get a bid from Weaver Heating and Air, but we did get a new bid from Middle Georgia Mechanical and one from J.C. Lane. This was structured a little bit differently than the first go-around to provide a better apples-to-apples comparison. We did include the first 2 service interval supplies that are required for first 2 years of operation, and then these do include a 10-year, 50,000-hour manufacturer's warranty. And so the results are on the screen there. The J.C. Lane proposed price went up to $308,000, and the Middle Georgia Mechanical price was $231,000. Both of these prices do include the payment and performance bonds that are required for the project, and we do qualify for Gas Authority new technology credit of some $42,000. And so that brings the net cost down to $189,421. So our recommendation is to approve the purchase of these 6 replacement HVAC units for the E-Center from Middle Georgia Mechanical. HVAC at a cost of $231,421.75. This does include those bonds that I mentioned, and to authorize the mayor to sign the contract for their installation.
All right, thank you, Mr. Basesh. Any questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Perkle.
Thank you. Mr. Brusech, if you go back and show the unit hours, I believe previously you mentioned we were potentially looking at saving one of these for parts for the others. I don't know if it's an equivalent model, if we still are. I assume that's the Unit 6 there, that's so many less hours than the others.
That's correct, and if we find any other equipment on the others, we're going to salvage, we're going to take all of them out and dispose of them ourselves so we can pull parts off of the others that might still be in good shape.
Okay, and is there a particular reason why is Unit 6 run so much less than the others? What area does it cover versus the others?
I can't answer that.
Okay, could we look into that? I mean, I'm for going ahead and replace them all, but it just seems that's almost half of some of the others, and
Right, we
probably a reason why.
reissued the opportunity, we reduced the size of one of the units to probably compensate for
Okay.
the area that it serves.
All right.
Probably Unit 6.
Thank you.
But I'll get that information.
Thank you, Mr. Perkel. Any other questions? All right, is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the purchase of 6 replacement HVAC units for the East Center using Middle Georgia Mechanical at the cost of $231,421.75, including the bonds, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract for installation.
That was the fastest I've heard anything read in my life. Thank you. I have a motion from Mr. Page. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Hicks. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Okay. Next, we'll move on to new business, and item number 2, there was actually a request by the applicant for that to be withdrawn without prejudice. I'll ask if there's a motion to do that.
Mayor, I make a motion to allow RZ 25-002 to be withdrawn without prejudice.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Anderson to withdraw without prejudice. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Page. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of withdrawing without prejudice, please raise your right hand. Okay. Next, we'll move on to item number 3, and this is a public hearing. I will hand that over to the Planning Department to present to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next item we have is a design review board request within the Town Center overlay, application number 25-003, located at 5290 Sycamore Road. Mr. Mayor and Council, you can see the home outlined in the lavender color. It is a triangular piece of property located at Sycamore Road near its intersection with Appling. The current zoning of the property is RS 100. It does have an existing home. You can see the other zonings in the adjacent area as well, which includes HM1 and BG, as well as other RS 100 zonings. This is the site plan of the home, and we have another that is zoomed in for a better view. Again, we show a survey of the property, and I do have a couple points that I would like to go over with the council. There were a couple questions last week at the work session in regards to the setbacks, and there is a variance setback requested as part of the application. Mr. Mayor and Council, this application for a design review is to replace an existing home. The existing home sits approximately 16.5 feet from the right-of-way. The proposed new home would be 25 feet from the right-of-way, as shown in the coral-colored overlay. The setback for RS 100 along a major collector is 45 feet. There were no concerns from Sugar Hills Public Works, and there were no concerns from Gwinnett County. We did get an email last week, and I do apologize. I do have copies if the council would like. One citizen did have a concern about not the homes themselves, but in regards to the setback amount, and I believe council was copied on that email. The recommendation is to approve as submitted and requested, and with final designs shall substantially resemble the attached exhibits labeled 1 through 3. So again, Mayor and Council, I will state that the existing home sits 16.5 feet from the right-of-way. The new home would be 25 feet, so it would push further off the right-of-way. The minimum setback in RS 100 is 45 feet, so there still is a variance being requested. However, again, the new home would push further back from the right-of-way than the existing. And here are the elevations of the proposed new home. And again, Mayor and Council, the recommendation is to approve as submitted and requested with the final designs substantially resembling the attached exhibits labeled 1 through 3. We're happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions of staff before I open up the public hearing? Yes, Mr. Perkle.
At the work session, I asked if you could take some pictures of the house showing the right-of-way line in the house. Were you able to do that?
I'm sorry, I did not. And I do remember that now. I do apologize for that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Perkle. Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Newell, can you go back to the survey for just a minute? That's a good question. Will the construction of these homes require the building of the sidewalk along Sycamore across their frontages?
I don't believe so. I believe there's not a sidewalk on that side of the road, and for residential, single residential, I don't believe that would require sidewalk construction.
And is that red box the same footprint as what's shown on the plans? Is that box the same foundation box for the house itself?
For the proposed new home?
For the proposed new home,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson. Any other questions? All right, then we'll move on to the public hearing, and what I'll do is, as we always do, I'll break it out into two different parts, 10 minutes for those that wish to speak in support of, and then 10 minutes for those that wish to speak in opposition or to express concern about the application. And we will start with the first 10 minutes for those that wish to speak in support. That is typically the applicant. Are they here tonight? Yes, please come forward. And please state your name and address for the record.
Ty Rosales. It's 5145 Gable Ridge.
Okay, thank you.
Well, as a first hearing, I'm not sure I'll support, but for the right-of-way that was there initially, it's the only 2 lots.
Unfortunately, we don't really do debate back and forth. If you'd like to present the project, if you're able to, that's what we're looking for. And then what we typically do after that is we might ask you questions about the project. Would you like to present anything related to the?
I guess at this moment I wouldn't know.
Okay. Well, then I'll just ask if there are any questions of the applicant, since we have them up here. Okay, I don't see any questions. But Ms. Avery.
I guess I just have one question. I did go out last week and walk the property and try to visualize. And when I look at this photograph of the proposed house, it really looks like there's a sidewalk there. But we just said there's no sidewalk on that side of Sycamore.
That's correct. Currently, there is no sidewalk there. It's just a driveway.
Right,
That's, I guess, half a circle.
right, right.
I'm not sure if originally that area was proposed for a sidewalk because that right-of-way is reserved for whatever reason that we're not sure of. But right now, it just it has a driveway there. I'm not sure who is the ownership of that side, of that driveway.
All right, thank you. Any other questions of the applicant? All right, I hear no questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here that would like to speak in support of the project? All right, we will close out that time and we'll move on to the other 10 minutes for those that might wish to speak in opposition to or express concern about it. Is there anybody here that? All right, I see nobody here for that, so we'll close out that time period as well and the public hearing. And then I'll leave it up to City Council to see if there's any additional questions before I ask if there is a motion. Yes, sir, Mr. Perkle.
So I did drive by the property. Unfortunately, we don't have a picture to see it. We can see here that the addition, or that the new house is going to be, I believe it's 8.5 feet further back than the existing house, but it's much larger as well. As you drive from Highway 20 down Sycamore, one of the first things you notice is these two houses extending out because they're in the apex of the curve. I just don't think reducing to 25 feet there is correct. They also stick out, as you can see, from the neighboring house, not the next one, which is what we'll hear next, but the one above that. They appear to be 15, 20 feet in front of the other neighboring properties. I'm not opposed to them taking down these houses and building new houses here. I don't think it should be as close to the road as they're requesting. I would hope at some point that maybe the county will align or realign that road and reduce that curve there. There have been a number of wrecks in that area, and just down where Dawn Gober used to live, she had multiple wrecks in her front yard and had described them in great detail. What I might suggest, if it's possible for the builder, is if they would redivide these two lots. The problem appears to be this lot we're talking about now is so small, and that's why they want it up, because if you push it further back, it's going to encroach into the building lines on each side, the 10-foot setbacks. But if they took some property, you can see there's over 28 feet between the next house and its property line there. So if they were to redivide these lots, add another 10 or more feet there, they could move this house further back off the road, not get into either of the setbacks, and I would be happy with an approval there, but I just believe what we're discussing now is too close to the road, particularly when you're talking about this new building is almost double in size to the other, and the others are very prominent now as you drive down that road.
Thank you, Mr. Perkle. I might make a suggestion. I think we all have some lingering questions that maybe could be answered over a longer period of time, and I'm going to suggest that if it's up to you all, maybe we might table this until next month. Is that okay with everybody? Would there be a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion to table, Mayor.
Thank you. I have a motion to table from Mr. Perkle. Is there a second? A second from Ms. Avery. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of tabling, please raise your right hand. Thank you. All right, let's move on to item number 4, and let's go ahead and go through the public hearing on that one as well. Mr. Newell, would you mind presenting item number 4 to us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. The next item is a design review board application, the Town Center overlay number 25-004, located at 5300 Sycamore Road, directly adjacent to the previous application. Again, Mr. Mayor and Council, you can see the existing home and shed outlined in purple at Sycamore near its intersection with Appling. This property is also zoned RS 100, and you can see the additional, the additional zonings in the adjacent area, which include BG and HM1. And here is an outline of the property, which will have a more zoomed in version as well. Similarly, Mr. Mayor and Council, to the previous application, you can see the outline of the existing home as well as the proposed footprint of the new home, which is shaded in the light pink coral area or color. The existing home sits approximately 23.7 feet from the right-of-way. The proposed new home would sit 25 feet from the right-of-way, as shown in the coral-colored overlay. And the setback for RS 100 along a major collector is 45 feet. Again, there were no concerns from Sugar Hill Public Works or from Gwinnett County. And I'll again mention we did receive an email, and I believe council was copied as well with some concerns about the setback. Here are the elevations of the proposed home. Mr. Mayor and Council, the recommendation is to approve as submitted and requested, and that final design shall substantially resemble the attached exhibits labeled 1 through 3.
All right, thank you. Any questions of staff before I open up the public hearing? All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the public hearing, and we'll do the first 10 minutes for those that might wish to speak in support of the application. And I do not see anybody taking that option, so we'll close out that portion of time. We'll open up the 10 minutes for those that might wish to speak in opposition or express concern about. I see nobody in that category as well, so we'll close out the public hearing for this. Any questions or last-minute comments from?
I just echo the same concerns I mentioned on the other one.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Do we know, is the intention for the garage, the existing garage on this lot, is it going to remain?
I'm not sure. It's not.
It's not? Okay.
To go.
Then to follow up on Mr. Perkel's comments from the previous DRB, I think it'd be helpful, I think subdividing that, especially if that, because subdividing it could have caused a problem if that garage were to remain, but since that garage is not going to remain, it appears that subdividing this property, just moving that line over 20, 30 feet, you've got enough room to build both without the setback variance required. So it'd be helpful too to have this survey with the actual survey in its totality, so we can see how it conforms to the RS 100 zoning standards in terms of frontage and square footage and that. And to see the actual houses shown on the survey would also be very helpful, just to have total context of what's being proposed. I personally have no problem with the design of it, but I do have concerns over the setbacks on it. So from a design standpoint, I think it's fine. It's just the setback issues, the variance requests that I think that I've got concerns over. Thank you.
Mr. Perkel?
Just if we wind up tabling this and bringing it back next month, could we have these two layouts combined so we see both of the new footprints on the same view, so we see how those fit together as opposed to just one and the other? You understand what I'm saying?
Instead of
So the pink
together
boxes
having
on one drawing.
separate.
Yes.
Okay, yes,
I mean, you can still have them separate if you want, but I'd like one combined so we see the effect of that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? Ms. Avery?
My concern is that on the proposal under the discussion item, it said on there that the garage is anticipated to remain, but tonight we found out it will not remain. So, and then also, the third item, it said the site plan indicates potential encroachment on the side setbacks and administrative variance may be required should the applicant be unable to reconfigure the position of the residence. So I think it's imperative, I would agree, that we need to table this and know exactly what we're approving for the design review.
Thank you, Ms. Avery. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to table.
I have a motion to table from Mr. Perkel. Second from Mr. Page. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of tabling, please raise your right hand. Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to item number 5, and that is the contract award. Mr. Besesh?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is related to contract opportunity in a SPLOST-funded capital project that has been in the 2025 capital program since we made the presentation last fall. And relates to sidewalk construction on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard on the east side, connects Park Ridge, a new neighborhood, with Spring Hill Drive with an enhanced width sidewalk. And then also includes the construction of sidewalks on Spring Hill Drive, filling a gap in our sidewalk system on that side with a 5-foot sidewalk. There's a total of some nearly 2,300 linear feet of new sidewalk. It includes construction of guardrail along Peachtree Industrial, relocation of guardrail on Spring Hill, new traffic signal loop, and stormwater infrastructure to complete the improvements that are permitted through Gwinnett County. Staff did budget this at an amount of $750,000. The bids that were received, 3 of those were under the budgeted amount. And the low bidder, after advertising properly for this type of project, was R&B Developer, Inc., with a bid of $586,659. We did, after last week's meeting, review the bid documents carefully, and we did check references for the contractor, and we were satisfied with the results that we had received. The other bidders that had proposed for this type of work were within range, with the exception of a few outliers. One was from Buford that we haven't been able to work with because of their relatively high prices. So we are prepared to recommend awarding the contract for Project 25-012 PIB Sidewalks to R&B Developer, Inc. in the amount of $586,659 and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract.
All right, thank you, Mr. Besesh. Any questions? All right, is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion to award the construction contract for Project 25-012 PIB Sidewalks to R&B Developer Incorporated in the amount of $586,659 and authorize the mayor to sign the contract.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Hicks. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Anderson. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Okay, next we'll move on to the last item. Contract for the transportation of arrestees. Mr. Radford.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm going to ask Chief King to come up and she can address the language that's in the contract as it relates to police, but also just to outline what we think are the apparent benefits to the residents of Sugar Hill as it relates to the ability to transfer and those who are arrested to the Gwinnett County Jail. So, Chief King?
Good evening again. The contract that we're speaking of gives us the ability to transport individuals that are arrested on warrants outside of our agency and transporting them to the Gwinnett County Jail. Under OCGA 17.425.1, it outlines the rules for transporting arrested persons, and that's referenced in the contract, and I think that's why the language for police comes up, because it speaks of law enforcement officers, which we are, although we are the Sugar Hill Marshal's Office. A couple of things about the contract. This is just for individuals that have a warrant for their arrest from another jurisdiction. This is not us making charges on somebody. And if Gwinnett County Police is not readily available to be able to transport them to the Gwinnett County Jail without delay, this contract would enable us to do so without any questions and without delay. We don't have to worry about the arrestee's safety of sitting in the back of a patrol car for any extended period of time, and we don't have to worry about officer safety by having someone sitting in the back of our car for an extended period of time and with the possibility of them becoming agitated.
Thank you, Chief King. Mr. Radford, is that?
And what we're, staff is asking is that you authorize the mayor and Chief King to execute the contract on behalf of the city.
All right, thank you. Any questions of Chief King or Mr. Radford? Mr. Anderson?
Chief, how many instances of this have happened since you've been our chief?
It hasn't. We actually thought we came across a wanted subject once, and it was actually an error on the computer system. But at that time, there was not anyone available to respond to our location.
And so really what we're looking at is it's a bit of an outlier situation, but in the interest of safety for both our marshals and for the city's own liability, what you're suggesting is that it's better to have us go ahead and, in this situation, transport that individual to the jail and get that process taken care of quickly rather than waiting on Gwinnett County Police to do the same thing.
Correct. And oftentimes Gwinnett County may be available, at which time we'd gladly hand them over. But should the occasion arise where they're tied up on calls, this would enable us to transport them without delay.
And I think that's an important clarification. I appreciate that. Thank you, Chief.
No problem.
All right, any other questions of Chief King?
I have a question. I guess just a logistics question. When we look at on shifts for our city marshals, how many are on shift from any given time?
At least 2, except for sometimes late hours, it's just 1.
Okay, so if we encounter an individual and, during a normal shift with 2, we're potentially taking at least 1, if not both, out of the city limits, and we're not going to have anyone within the city limits on shift. Is that correct?
That's incorrect. Only 1 would have to transport, never 2.
Okay. I guess just my reservations is kind of going back to what we spoke about. I think item number 6 on the work session is just the duplication of services. We've never used it. I understand it is a safeguard, but we all pay, because we are city limits. We are in the city limits of Sugar Hill. We pay Gwinnett County property taxes, which includes a millage rate for the police department. And that is, to me, just a duplication of services. I know this is here for a certain reason, and the safety of our marshals to be able to do this service. But until I see a clear path forward for our marshals and what that holds for the future, I'm at a bit of a loss with this contract and how we can move forward with something like this, and we're not defined. So,
All right, thank you, Mr. Page. Mr. Anderson?
Chief, to follow up on that question, if this situation occurs and we do have an individual detained in the back of a car, does that not also then present a situation in which that marshal is not available to do anything until a Gwinnett County Police officer arrives to transport that individual?
That is correct.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Just one, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Mr. Kirkland.
I'm a big fan of the police. I'm a big fan of the Gwinnett County Police. I'd like to see them up here a lot more. I suspect if we give them reasons to not be here, they won't be here. I would prefer to continue to use the county police for what we pay them taxes for. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to table this to the June work session to allow our staff to come up with a plan for the path forward for the marshals and present it to City Council.
All right. Is that appropriate? Just asking, since we have our next meeting in May. All right. All right, I have a motion to table until June. Is there a second? All right, I have a second from Ms. Avery to table until June. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. I apologize. Did it pass?
3 in favor. You need to call for those opposed.
Oh, got it. All those opposed. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So it's tabled until June. All right, that is the last item that we have on the agenda. Do we have a need for executive session?
We do, Mayor.
All right, can you tell me for what reason so we can make that motion?
One would be real estate.
All right, And the legal? Okay.
Yes.
So we have a need to go into executive session for a real estate and legal matter. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go to executive session for legal and negotiation.
I have a motion from Mr. Hicks. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Avery. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Good deal. All right, we'll go in and come back out just shortly.
somebody just does not ever need to be in charge of law enforcement,
I've watched them do.
like what happens? Involved shooting. Gonna just sit up there and lie. So that makes.
get off the beaten path.
They're almost all.
It's great for watching baby does jumping up and down in the puddle. Oh, God, that was fun. Oh, I don't have a phone, so I couldn't take a picture of that, but when my, huh?
I used to have one.
My mom, well, you know, it would have been a good one. We're riding down, you know, where Burgess, and you take that little cut through, got it on this one. Turkey.
Oh, really?
I had it.
A turkey?
Wild turkey.
Wild turkey. I've been used to.
Right next to the edge of the road. Sitting.
Oh.
Thing to go. Coming home. Goes out there, and this thing starts patting it, doing to it. And we had Xavier a couple weeks ago. Came to see spring break with a couple weeks. He picks the turkey up. Xavier runs out, he's cutting the turkey, and I'm like, holy she picked it. Is this a wild freaking turkey?
Yeah. I'm just scared it's bird.
Bird flu?
Walk right up to it. I didn't pick
Bird
it up, and
flu,
that would
yeah.
freak me out.
Don't be killing any more chickens, okay? Anyways.
No, you're making it where we can't eat eggs for these.
Yeah. Anyways, she's got this sort of London fog raincoat on, which is white, a turkey under her arm, and Xavier's over here. And she's walking towards me, and I get to the truck and park and get out of it. I think, here's my theory. This was a couple of weeks ago. So here's my theory. Some Tom had stressed her out. Like, because it's mating season for turkey. And she was like, had to get away from them, and that was her place, was next to the road. The mail wasn't gonna come out there. Well, she's got the turkey, and then she's petting it and talking to it, and she goes, I'm gonna take her home. And I go, no, you aren't. You are not taking that turkey home. And it looked at me like, ah, crap. The cat has the same look, like runs away. And one wing shot out from under her arm, and the next thing it went right back into the woods, and I'm like, what the heck was that all about? You can't pick a turkey up, a wild turkey, you come out there. She did. Her phone was in her pocket, so I couldn't have took a picture of it, but it was cool.
My parents raised turkeys for a while.
Yeah, well, she
wild
grew,
turkeys, they
her
got the
dad
eggs.
in Mexico worked for a guy that owned a hacienda. And he had a farm with all that stuff.
They're really, I mean,
I started doing that, and I'm like, oh no, she can't.
At least you didn't do this.
Yeah.
they're different than like, it's really any different than chickens. No,
What a wild turkey.
I bet it had a density.
Probably, but I don't know why it was sitting out by the roads rainy days.
It may have been doing that, because they'll take a break sometimes, and like, when birds nest, they're kind of, they will get up like, salads, but they have to eat. And so, they may have been kind of a semi-stupid.
I figured either that or a Tom had been chasing her around. Mine, you know, Bobby Reese, he's been hunter. And I told him this story, and he, no way. She picked the turkey up. He says, them birds just, yeah, there was definitely, that was a God moment. And Elena still talks about it. Her favorite thing was, I got to pick the turkey up. And it made her remember when she was a kid, because she always helped her dad pick up turkeys and move them and did them.
Don't mess with the toms though.
No. Heard of it. All right, kids. I'm out of here.
Okay, see you.
Drive careful.
Oh, yeah, I hope to.
One of these days.
Don't forget to eat our
All right, we are back from executive session. We discussed 3 legal matters and 3 real estate matters, but we have no action to take outside of executive session. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn our April City Council meeting. Motion to adjourn. Have a motion from Mr. Hicks. Is there a second?
Mayor Hembry, I would like to second the motion to adjourn.
Have a second from Mr. Page. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, we are adjourned until next month.